Okay, what is the list of places that you have lived between 1945 and 1989?
Places I have lived?
Yeah,
You want states or cities?
it could be anywhere.
Okay. I've lived in New Jersey, in
Okay,
a town called Wallington.
okay,
Uh, then I lived in with the Marines in South Carolina
okay,
and California.
okay,
Then I guess I lived there for a year and a half in Vietnam during the war.
okay.
Then I also lived in Florida,
Where you are now.
where I am now, and that's it.
But you're not. You said you were in Hawaii.
Yeah, but I was only there for 3 days.
But can I put that?
Yeah.
Did you serve over there in Hawaii or
No,
just a
I just a
visit?
vacation, a visit.
Okay. And what was the first time you remember hearing about the conflict between the Soviet Union and the United States?
Oh, back in the 80s.
Back in what year?
I guess maybe 83.
1983?
Yes.
And no, it was like what was the first time?
What was the first time?
Yeah.
When I was listening to
Like
the news
what did you hear about it?
about the Soviet Union.
Yeah, what kind of things did you hear about it?
Well, I heard we were having it was a Cold War, and we could possibly be on the brink of a nuclear war.
Okay. Anything else?
Mm. And President Reagan was very tough about it uh, with the Russians. Then they finally came to an agreement.
Okay. Is that all you remember?
Yes.
That's all you remember?
Right now, yes.
Okay. The next question is, what does the term Cold War mean to you?
Cold War is when you're very, in my own words, you're very mad and upset with one another, that you don't want to talk much because you're very cold towards one another. It's like when you're mad at someone, you're very cold towards them if you don't want to talk to them. That's what Cold War means.
And what do you remember seeing or reading in the news about the Cold War?
Well, he wanted to take the Soviets, they wanted to take a wall, I believe it was a wall, down.
They wanted to take a wall down?
I think so.
Like what wall?
The Berlin Wall.
The Berlin Wall?
Yes. See, so far I know a lot of it.
Okay. The next question is, what what books, movies, cartoons, or posters did you see that villainized either country, capitalist, communists or dealt with the Cold War?
What movies?
Yeah, that dealt with the Cold War. It could be movies or cartoons or posters.
I seen posters.
And what was it? Can you describe it?
With the president speaking.
On the poster?
Yeah,
Do you remember which president?
President Reagan.
Reagan speaking on the poster?
Yeah.
Or was it in a movie?
I don't remember if I've seen any movies on it. I may have. I don't remember the movie though.
And how did they shape your impressions at that time?
It was a scary time because if anybody has a nuclear war, nobody wins. There's no winners. Everything is gone.
And what were you taught in school and at home about this conflict? What did they teach you about in school and at home? Like, did they teach you anything in history?
No, I was out of high school by then.
You are already out of school?
Yeah.
They didn't teach you really much about it?
When I was in school?
Yeah.
Well, it hadn't happened yet.
Oh, it didn't happen yet, Dad?
Right.
So they didn't teach you anything because it hadn't happened yet?
Right.
Well, and then it says, what did your school or family teach about nuclear threats and the nuclear war? Or that didn't happen yet?
Well, yeah, that was real. That was happening, but they taught us.
Well, tell me what did they teach about it?
Well, the only thing you could do was maybe go in a shelter, but that wasn't a guarantee that you would survive.
And that's all?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm answering them pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I being recorded right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Were you or any of your family members ever afraid that they would be in the hot war or the nuclear war between the two countries? Were they ever afraid? Or were you ever afraid?
Yeah, I thought about it quite a bit, but I really wasn't really that afraid because I knew if that happened, it would be quick and there would be no more people on this earth.
But and your family wasn't afraid?
Yes, they were concerned, but they were afraid.
And when did you feel this way?
When?
Yeah.
guess what do you mean, when did I feel this way? And not all the time,
But sometimes.
sometimes. But I just went on with everyday life, you know.
Well, and did you do anything to prepare for it?
No, there's nothing you could do
Oh, nothing to prepare?
unless you're a rich person and can build your own shelter under the ground. And
And what aspects of the space race or competition to explore space do you remember?
I remember when the Russians first sent up the Sputnik.
Is
It
and
was
is
called.
that and is that when they had the NASA thing?
The what?
The NASA, where they sent
Well,
the
that was the
astronauts
Russians.
in the
What are you
space.
talking about? The space, the United States?
Yeah, the space.
Oh, I remember the astronauts in Florida going up.
Yeah, and what do you remember about it?
I remember when the astronauts were, this spaceship, the rocket ship exploded and they all died.
So
That was
the
back in the
astronaut,
80s.
the astronaut spaceship,
It died, and
spaceship.
that was back in the 80s. I don't remember exactly what year.
The astronaut spaceship died.
The astronauts died. They were taken off from the space shuttle and it exploded and they died.
So I put the astronauts died.
Yes.
And was it a phrase that you remember using all the time?
A phrase of what?
The phrase called space race.
What about it?
Do you remember using it all the time?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I didn't use it all the time, but a lot of people did.
What did it mean to you?
How we were in competition with the Russians to explore space. That's what it meant to me.
Can you think of any specific examples of rivalry between the USA in other areas of life, like sports? Like, can you think of any specific examples of rivalry between the USA and USSR in other areas of life, like sports?
I know there's always competition in sports when they have the Olympics. That's the only one I could think of when they have the Olympics.
That's the only one example you could think of?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the Berlin Wall coming down?
Do I remember?
Yeah, the Berlin Wall coming down.
I remember hearing something about it. I don't know exactly when it was, though.
Do you remember hearing about it?
Yes.
And how did it make you feel?
Not much different. I mean, it was, at the time, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention because it was on the other side of the world, and being here in the United States, a lot of people aren't so concerned about that.
How have your feelings about that era changed since 1989 and the Berlin Wall coming down?
Well, things have gotten a lot better. We still have always there's tensions and problems with Russia, but things are, I would say, 80% better.
So things got 80% better?
Yes.
What lessons should students today take away from the Cold War?
Mm,
Like, what should students learn about
well,
the
we
Cold
should
War?
try and be, all cultures are different. Whether you're from Russia or China or whatever you may be, you have to try and communicate more and try to talk our differences out better.
And now I actually have three questions of my own to ask you. Can I ask them?
Yes.
Okay, the first question is, what was it like to serve in the Marines?
It was unique, very tough, but good discipline and training that will stay with me forever.
Good discipline and
And
training.
That will stay with me forever. And it
Why do you
has
say
to
that will
this
stay
day
with you forever?
until the rest of my life.
But why?
Because the things I was trained and taught are very helpful.
And the second question is, what was the most difficult part of serving?
When I was in the war in Vietnam, being shot at and bombs exploding around me, and it was very scary and difficult.
Being shot at and what else?
And bombs exploding around me.
And the last question is, what made you want to serve for our country? What made you want to go in the military?
Well, at first I didn't want to, but then a lot of my friends were going, and I knew if I didn't go, eventually they would call me anyhow, because at that time they had the draft.
What is that?
The draft was where you had to go. All the boys and men had to go. They called you whether you wanted to or not. That was back in the 60s. So I decided to go in to one of the Navy would have been easy, the Air Force would have been easier, but my friend talked me into, and I went with him to go into one of the hardest branches of the service, which is the Marines.
But why didn't you want to go into any ones that were easy? Why did you want to go to the hardest one?
I didn't really want to, but he kept saying, "Come on, and I did.
But if you had the choice, would you go into an easy one? If you had the choice.
Now?
No,
then?
back then, if you had the choice, would you go into the easy one?
Probably not, because the training was unbelievable. I know people who have been in the Navy and Air Force, and it's like, they told me it's like being in the Boy Scouts. The training is not that tough.
You would rather it be tough?
Yes,
Why is that?
because it has helped me throughout my life.
Like, how has it helped you?
By being more stern about things, being more aware of my surroundings, being more aware of people who may not be so nice. It just has helped me quite a bit.
Okay, that's all the questions that I have for you today.
Okay, I hope
And thank you for letting me interview you, Dad.
you're very welcome, and I hope everything goes well.
Okay.
Thank you.